The drug Prenver is a vaccine meant to prevent certain types of bacterial meningitis. In a randomized, double-blind clinical trial of that drug, infants were randomly divided into two groups. Subjects in Group 1 received Prenver, while subjects in Group 2 received a control vaccine. The results are as follows. After the second dose, 129 of the 473 subjects in the experimental group experienced fever as a side effect. After the second dose, 38 of the 112 subjects in the control group experienced fever as a side effect. Thus, the evidence suggests that a lower proportion of subjects in the experimental group experienced fever as a side effect than the control group at 0.01 level of significance. We're going to write the null and alternative hypothesis. We're comparing two proportions in this case. So the null hypothesis suggests that the proportion of children from the experiment group is the same as the proportion of children who experienced fever from the second group or the control group. The alternative hypothesis states that the proportion of children in the experiment group experienced less side effects, less fever as a side effect of the vaccine than the control group. Now I'm going to collect my information. I'm going to say this is population 1 and this is population 2, or you could say this is the experimental group and this is the control group. So for the experiment group, we have the X is equal to 129. N, the sample size was 473. And the control group X was 38. And the sample size was 112. I'm going to go to the Master Excel workbook. I'm going to go to hypothesis testing for two proportions. And I will plug in my numbers. For the first sample, which is the experimental group. The X1 is 129. N is 473, and then remove the P if there is a P here, because we don't have that. And then alpha is 0.01, and then the test is less than, and then you go to the second group and put the numbers in here. The X2 is 38, N2 is 112, remove P if it's there, you don't need it. Now, we have the test statistic, and we have the p-value right here, and we have the decision. So, I'm going to say the test statistic is equal to negative 1.4024. The p-value is equal to 0.0804. The conclusion here, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. This means we don't have sufficient sample evidence to support the claim that a lower proportion of subjects in the experimental group experienced fever as a side effect than the control group. So that is our decision. So we failed to reject the null hypothesis. This means we don't have sufficient sample evidence to support the claim that the claim is here, a lower proportion of subjects in experimental group experience fever as a side effect than the control group. So basically, I'm just stating the conclusion right here, or the claim. The claim that a lower proportion of subjects in the experimental group. Experienced fever as a side effect than the control group. So this is the final review, question number 10. Good luck. If you do have any questions, please come to my office hours or talk to me during the class.